Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversational Witchcraft with me, Dawn, the Kitchen Witch. Today, we have something really special, something very out of the box for us. We are, in fact, some would say, defying gravity. Somewhere over the rainbow, through a field of overgrown poppies, down a crumbly yellow brick road, you'll find Green Girl Diaries, or you can always just use the internet. Green Girl Diaries is a modern day parody web series of the musical Wicked that focuses on the titular Green Girl and one day Wicked Witch Elphaba and her time at Shiz University. You can watch as Elphaba navigates her way through college shenanigans. She see the drama play out between her and her posh roommate Galinda, laugh and cry with her as she feels out a hopeful relationship with new kid Fiyero, explore the world of Oz, a land filled with wizards, animals, winkies, magic, and munchkins, and see it all through the eyes of Oz's biggest outcast. Today on the show, we have Vanessa Evans, who is the director, writer, and lead actress in Green Girl Diaries. And of course, another member of the company, Judy Mina-Ballard, here to tell us all about everything. And I am, obviously, the more I talk about it, the more excited I'm getting. Welcome, Judy. Welcome, Vanessa. So excited. I'm so excited to have you. Okay. For those of you,
great.
No, you're great. For those of you who are listening and not watching, I am wearing my Wicked sweatshirt and I'm sweating balls because it's really warm in here, but I'm not going to take it off because, hello, I love it. And what many people don't know about me is I am a giant theater nerd. So this is a witchcraft podcast, but I feel like this is like witchcraft adjacent because it's about a witch and I'm a witch. Plus it's right in my nerddom. So I'm just so excited to have you here. And like, how did you even find me? Like, you guys reached out to me and I was like, yes, come on the show. Just come on.
Well, I have a producer named V. Shout out to V. Thank you. She works so hard.
Yay, V.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the ways I like to make my cast feel special is just, setting up opportunities like this. So we were reaching out to things that were adjacent to us. Like, yeah, we're a web series, but we're a witchy web series and you're a kitchen witch. So we're like, yeah, this could work. We'll figure it out. And you got back to us so quickly. You've been so nice along the way. So thank you. Yeah.
And I have to thank you guys because I had to reschedule this and it was kind of a nightmare. I had some stuff going on. So thank you. I'm so glad we finally got the chance to do this. And also for you guys, it's really early, right? You're in California?
10 o'clock.
It's 10. Yeah. It's 10, but we are in California.
It's a Saturday. 10 o'clock on a Saturday is like 6 a.m. on a Monday.
You know what? This is really, so Saturdays for me, I have a whole other business and then I'm a performer, regional stuff. And then every weekend I actually go out and sing and dance with kids like 2-3 years old. So I've got like 3 parties today where I go out and hang out with like the Mario brothers and Minnie and Mickey, all these characters.
I really hope that pays well.
I'm hoping the Moon Girl is going to be a new character that we're going to add to our repertoire. So that's from the new Disney Plus series. It just sounds amazing. Vanessa, do you know about it?
I think so. Girl? She has a dinosaur.
So yeah, she's got a dinosaur, but she's the most powerful in the Marvel universe. I was watching Lawrence Fishburne yesterday on The View, and he helped create it. And she is a girl of color. She's a young girl, and her superpower is her mind. How smart!
So
she is a STEM girl.
Looks really cute.
So it just sounds amazing.
Have you seen Ms. Marvel?
Oh yeah, that's super cool.
Ms. Marvel of all. Okay, again, I told you I'm a giant fucking nerd.
Here we go.
So I mean, to be fair, before we even started recording, Judy and I were geeking out over our favorite drag queens. So
absolutely,
I mean, just a little obsessed. But
all my squirrels are all named after drag queens.
How many squirrels do you even have? There's a whole
got
other
about
show.
5. We've got about 5. So we've got Bianca, Willow Pill, Jinx Monsoon, and Jinx is actually a pretty she's very she's not nice.
Oh,
she's sassy, and she'll steal food, and yeah.
I love it.
And then I have Brooklyn. I've got a Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is known by his giant testicles.
Because he's got big balls. You gotta get big balls to be from Brooklyn.
Exactly.
As a native New Yorker,
right?
You have big balls in Brooklyn. I mean, that's
you gotta have the bulls.
You gotta have the bulls. You gotta have the big balls. Okay, so back on track here now. So
I love it.
So okay, so obviously theater people. I have not been in theater in forever. I miss it so much. I miss it so much, right? Because like this is something where, and it's funny because often on the show here we're talking about witchcraft and kind of like finding witchcraft and finding this path of magic and whatever that looks like for you. And I often feel like art, and I'm putting theater in art, right? It's not something you do, it's something you are. Just like being a witch is not something you do. You don't do witchcraft, you are a witch. You don't do theater, you are basically art. You are moving art, you are theater, you are drama. Is that your individual experiences? Like, tell me about your individual experience with performance and how you found it or how it found you.
For me, I got started in musical theater specifically really late. It was senior year of high school, and I was at a music store and shuffling through some CDs. You know those things. And I found the Lion King soundtrack, but it looked a little different because I didn't realize it was like the Broadway cast recording. And I found it, and then I was like, I'm gonna get this. Popped it on in my car and just fell in love. It just like really changed my life completely. And I mean, I was nerding out about it. I was telling everyone, and nobody really quite got it. They're like, okay, cool. It's the Lion King.
It's the Lion King. What's the big deal?
Yeah, but they like the choir and just like the cast, it just, the new songs that were at it was just absolutely beautiful. That same year, I took a senior trip to San Francisco where we actually got to see the Lion King. And that was my first like actual Broadway touring cast of anything. And we still talk about it to this day because I was so excited. Like as soon as they were like, no, I was jumping out of my chair, making air. Like I was like leaving my chair. And like every time we meet up, they still talk about it. So like, it was just, and I knew that right then and there, I was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to do this in some capacity. This is what I'm doing with my life. And so senior year, I was like, theater.
It's visceral. I think it's visceral when you find the thing that hits that point for you. And on the note of Lion King stage musical, Lion King, They Live in You, the song from that soundtrack, They Live in You. I heard it for the first time right after my father passed away. And I had to pull over and sit on the side of the road and let that song and that music kind of like wash over me. And I just cried. And it, just thinking about it, I get emotional. It is that soundtrack. It's not just the Lion King, people. Okay. Like it's amazing. It makes sense that you had that reaction, but I am surprised that it happened so late in your life. How about you, Judy? What was your
first of all, I'm a little disappointed that Vanessa in her senior year had access to the Broadway cast recording for The Lion King, because that makes me feel really old.
I know.
Really old. Not the first time, Vanessa, right? Like the thing is, yes, I agree. Age is only a number, and I'm old as fuck.
Dude, it's not the years, it's the mileage. I'm 104.
You know what? Yeah, right. I'm like, fuck. Okay. So anyways, I always say, I have been asked this question, like, how did you get started in theater? I literally think I came out of the womb singing and dancing. And I am sure that there were several times that my parents were like, what the fuck is up with this kid? Like, holy shit. So I truly believe that. And that hasn't stopped. I mean, there were many times on the set, I'm sure that Vanessa and Steve, our director of photography, is that Steve's official? I don't know if that's Steve's official.
Yeah, he's like a producer and yes, director of photography.
Yeah. So I'm sure they probably were like, holy shit, how do we contain this chick? Like,
not just you, like.
Yeah, but Vanessa and I have worked in productions, multiple productions, and I'm a spaz. I'm a total freaking spaz. So for me, finding theater, my mother was an actor and a stage actor from long ago, and she's now gone. But I kind of stumbled into, like, it's so weird because as I got older, I started to have to audition, and it hit me that I don't really have a lot of experience auditioning because I was just told, this is your role. This is what you're going to do.
Right.
I got lucky, and I didn't realize. I thought that's how things went. So I just kind of walking through my, incredibly charmed life going, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I'm going to play Mrs. Lovett. All right, okay, cool. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
And I, as I've gotten older, I have really, I always tell people, look at Greece. All of the archetypes are in Greece. You have to figure out who the fuck you are, what your type is, and go with that. Stop. Not everybody's a Sandy. I wanted to be Sandy so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. I wanted to sing those songs, but I'm not that type. I'm a Rizzo.
Yeah.
I
always wanted to be the pretty girl. I always wanted to be the pretty girl. I always wanted, and just to put that thread through, right? Like, I think Elphaba is so, she's so identifiable for so many of us, right? Like, she wants to be the pretty girl. She wants to be the person who fits in, she wants to be, I always wanted to play the pretty girl, be the pretty girl. And I'm a 5'4" chunky, round Italian girl from New York. Like, and coincidentally, my maiden name is Rizza. So I was always going to be the Rizzo. I was never going to be the Sandy,
Right.
Always. Right. So
she's way more fun.
Totally.
Right. Like, as you grow up, you're like, oh no, I definitely would much rather be Rizzo. I'd always rather be the bad guy, or I'd always rather, be the person.
And as I've gotten older, I've had to steer into that. So, so I've been, and people ask me this all the time, Judy, what are your dream roles? Are you freaking kidding me? I've gotten to be all of my dream roles. I just recently, over the summer, played Melpomene in Xanadu.
Oh,
freaking
wow.
Amazing role. And I was like, I didn't know this production company. They've never worked with me. They don't know, anything about me, and booked me for Melpomene. And I was so grateful. But are you kidding me? I got to sing Evil Woman to, a packed house, 500 people every night.
Amazing.
Like, that was amazing. I've played Ursula multiple times. I've played Mrs. Lovett multiple times. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, these are the dream roles. I don't want to say I have any dream roles because I've been lucky. I've been so fortunate. So I'm very grateful for my theatrical career.
What about you, Vanessa? What's your dream role?
Well, obviously Elphaba.
Right.
And I don't think I had the same experience as Judy. Like, I feel like I had to audition a lot, and like I think my type, and I fight, like I see myself a certain way, and I feel like I can do both. Like, I feel like I fight to play, I want those lead roles. I want to be that person. And I think I fight hard for it. And I think I have the potential to do it. And so I try to steer my way into those roles, and that's kind of how this came about. I was
like, you made it for yourself. You're like, fuck it, I'm not.
I made it for myself. I was like, forget it. They're not going to do it for me. I'm going to do it for myself. So that's kind of how Dream Girl came about. Yeah, I was like, time's a ticking. I need to get this going. So,
but it's true that this shit is in your blood. You know what I mean? It chooses you. You don't choose it. At least that's how it's been, in my life. And like I said, most people don't know that about me, that like, I went to school for music education. Like, I wanted to be a music teacher. I was in every show, and I was always in the background, and I never had the lead role. And I did a lot of vocal training and in my youth, and I don't do it anymore. I don't, I ran a little theater for a little while in my 20s, and then I got engaged, and I needed to take all that money and put it towards a wedding. So I was like, well, I guess I'm not doing that anymore. And now I'm just a spectator. But I don't think that when the magic of theater and performance, I don't think that once it's in your blood, it ever leaves you, right? It's always
Absolutely.
with you to some level, and it is so creative. I want to hear from both of you about what is your creative process in terms of playing someone else, right? So you often think of creativity of starting something from the ground up. Oh, this was my idea, like what you're doing at Girl Diaries. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that later. But I mean, in your performances, in your performance career, and in your trainings, and in your studying, because you are studying this art, how do you stay, or what skills do you employ to remain individual and creative while speaking someone else's words, in someone else's personality, in someone else's world? Whoever wants to go first. I know it's a big question.
Vanessa,
Judy, go for it, Judy.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about the text. And what I do is I kind of dissect line by line. Where's my ups? Where's my downs? And then as I go through that process, I'm making little notes for myself. And then I go through and I just really rehearse the shit out of these things. I have an app that I plug all my lines into, and then I run it. For me, rehearsal is the key, because what I want to do is truly live in this character. I need things to go wrong so that I can improv how that character is going to deal with that situation. Perfect example. So Vanessa, I don't know if you remember this. Vanessa and I did Real Women Have Curves ages ago. I don't even know how long ago it was, Vanessa. And I don't know if you remember, but there was that door that closed and a picture frame fell off of the wall. And I don't know what idiot thought it was a smart idea to put a glass frame on a stage production. But
oh no.
Yeah, so the glass shattered. Well, in Real Women Have Curves, it takes place in a factory. It's a factory room, right? Well, what would my character do, or any of the characters for that matter? But I just went and got a broom and started sweeping up, because that's what I would do as that character. And it was, it's improv for me and that's why I love theater, because anything could happen. I'm not going to pull a Patti LuPone. I mean, she's a goddess. However, I don't think yelling at the audience is a smart idea. I would never want to alienate an audience member, even if they are on their phone, because that's just not cool. That, to me, I don't know, that's just not cool. I had a very good friend of mine. I was doing Fame. Vanessa, were we in that together? Did we?
No, we weren't.
No, we weren't. Okay. It was Christina. Christina and I did that. Cece and I did that. During a really intense ballad, I am the only one on stage, and I'm singing a ballad in Fame. And literally a friend of mine, Mark, oh my God, I was so mad at him, right in front row, right in front of me, gets on his phone and starts, making calls. I'm like, are you, in the middle of my song, I'm thinking, are you fucking kidding me? And this is a theater guy. I didn't say any. I wanted to say something.
She's calling you out now, Mark. This is, if you're
totally
listening to this, you're in fucking trouble.
He should be called out.
Very unusual.
I called behavior. Him out at the end of it too. After the show, I was like, dude, really? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So I think that for me, living in that moment, I mean, it was hard because I had to not see that. And it's hard to not see a bright light, and it just was very awkward. But I think living in the character, you can deal with things like that as long as you've done your homework. And I think doing your homework is the crucial piece.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all about your methodology and your skill and your practice, right? We often talk on the witchcraft side of things, we talk about your practice. And again, it being the way you move through the world, you're practicing these characters, you're practicing getting in their head and using your own experiences to get in their heads, right? So that when you need to pull something out of the hat, you're ready to go, right? How about you, Vanessa?
I nerd out a bit on this one too. Like I love creating characters. I love world building. I love diving deeper into a character because you again start with the text, number one thing. You'll find like little things in there. It may not be obvious to the audience, but it's obvious to you, and it will bring something about your character. So like, let's say she has, or like the character mentions something about her father in kind of a small, unique way. You could use that and dive deeper into that. Maybe she has daddy issues, and then you don't have to, it just will help you say the line a little bit differently. I like to dive into physicality and just like, how does this character walk? Does she have like a slower gait? How does she talk? The rhythm of how she talks. My goal is to completely lose myself on stage. It doesn't happen all the time. And it's usually, unfortunately, I feel like it's not really always me. I feel like it's a lot of what's happening around me, not other actors or anything like that, but just like the organization of like how we got to our end product. Sometimes our rehearsals are a little bit of a bumpy ride, and so I don't feel as safe on stage as I probably could to just let all my walls down. But the main goal, for me, is to completely lose myself on stage and become another person. And it's happened maybe 2 to 3 times where I felt like, okay, this is cool. And I wasn't the lead roles in those times. And the easiest time I'm able to do it is kind of in the ensemble because I am not hindered as much. I don't have a lot of boxes to tick, but that's my main goal.
Yeah. And you don't have, when you're in the background or on your tertiary character, as opposed to a primary character, I think sometimes have more freedom to, like you said, lose yourself a little bit and be in that moment because you're not in your head going, oh, fuck, what if I forget my line? Oh, fuck, I'm the lead. You're like, oh no, I'm here. Nobody's, some people are looking at me, but some people aren't. Like, I can just enjoy the experience of being on the stage, and especially musical theater, right? Like singing a song. And I think music is particularly transcendent when it comes to performance theater, whether it is, what we think of traditional musical theater, or we think about musicality as a singer or a musical artist, or, my partner's a musician and he goes someplace when he's performing, I mean, I'm sure that I did one or 2 times in my life back in the day when I was performing. It was so long ago, I don't even think I can remember. But it's a spiritual experience. Can either one of you share with us an experience like that you had performing, singing, dancing, anything like that really was a transcendent experience, if you would be comfortable sharing that with us?
I had it was an intense situation. I was doing a show called The Hanging of Mary Surratt. And Mary Surratt was the first woman hung. I don't know if you know about this. First woman hung in the United States. And she was hung due to her involvement. It's still kind of in question, her involvement with the assassination of Abraham Lincoln.
I did not know this.
And it was her house she ran a boarding house. And her son was friends with John Wilkes Booth. And then she kind of got roped into the whole thing. And it's still a question. Was she really involved in that? And it was, the play itself was not a musical at all. And I was very nervous about this. I had only ever done musicals up until, I don't know, it was about 15 years ago. I had only ever done musicals. And the first time I did a straight play was Shakespeare. And from then and then when I got this gig, The Hanging of Mary Surratt, I get hung at the end. And she was very, extremely different from me as a person. She was pious, which is definitely not me.
I like how you list that as the first thing.
Yeah, she was very pious. Like, she was very Catholic, and so interesting that as I'm being walked up to the gallows, I'm holding a rosary. Now, I was raised as a Catholic, but I'm certainly nowhere close to that anymore.
We call that a recovering Catholic in
I don't know if
community.
I'm recovering from that for sure.
Yeah, I'm recovering from it, and I'm using witchcraft for my recovery.
I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, and wow. And my husband is a recovering Mormon. So it's
oh my God.
It's recovery.
Wow, recovery. And it's a lifelong, right?
It's
but back to Mary Throp.
So at the end, I get hung, and part of my process, we're talking about the process. I've always been known as an outside in actor. So externally, it's very important to me what my hair looks like. It's very important to me what my voice is. Those things help me kind of define internally what's going to happen. And she was in all black. She was always holding a rosary. And then as I die, I let that rosary go. And the rosary then hits the ground under the gallows. And that's the final sound you hear as the lights go out. It was so fucking cool. It was so fucking cool. And that was something I came up with because, I mean, what she's going to hold, she's dead. Why is she holding? Of course she's going to let it go. But it was so every night, thank God my husband was there with me every night because he was in charge of rigging me for the hanging. And he was the only one that I was going to trust.
I feel like if you took that out of context, like my husband was in charge of rigging me for the hanging. I feel like that's like a completely different topic. I mean, we could talk all about that. Anybody want, so totally.
Yeah, but in theater, it makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. I know, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it took me about 2 to 3 hours every single night to release that because it was just so intense. It was 2 hours of intensity, building to me dying. I will tell you, my daughter, who lost her father at 15, was not able to come see this. She's like, I just can't, Mom, I can't see you die every night. I just can't do it. I was like, are you kidding me? I get it. I get it. No, you don't have to. Come on. You don't have to.
Wow.
Because it was like, boom, there's nothing else. He pulls the thing and I fall. The gallows open up and I get hung. It's hard to see. Yeah. So, but it was hard to release that. So that was a moment where I was so in it.
Yeah.
I couldn't come see people afterwards. It was just too intense.
Well, you put your brain and your spirit and your body through something when you do that kind of work, and again, that's why the spiritual bit is very, very interesting, right? Because what you do, it's not just acting, it's not just performing. There is a spiritual element to it. You couldn't do that successfully. You couldn't express those emotions in a way that other people understand if you're not going to this place within yourself, right? Vanessa, I'm curious about your experience.
So I'm also a band nerd. I play the clarinet. And so growing up, I had a teacher and he would call it it. And I think what it was the magic that we found when something all just came together, if that makes sense. And so he was like, you'll always be searching for it. And I feel like in high school, I did it was kind of funny because I wasn't on stage. I was actually in the pit orchestra playing the clarinet. And we were doing Once Upon a Mattress. And there was this very jazzy, song in there. And the tap dancers came out and this red light turned on and it shined right into the pit. And like something happened to like all of us. And we kind of started just really vibing together. And I felt it then. On stage specifically, Ragtime is a show I did. Right. Again, ensemble people. I was just in the ensemble. Some people
ensemble for that show.
I can't.
I teach kids, and sometimes I'm just like, kids, like the ensemble. Like, yes, we all want our leads, but don't skip out on a good ensemble. It's the experience. It was Sarah's song, I believe, and it's right after she dies, and they all come together, and there's 3 different groups, and then they all come together and they sing that song. I felt it then. I felt it recently in another way. I was in a voice lesson and I hit this amazing note. And I posted this on my social media and I was still like tripping about it because I hit this like amazing high note, which I do, like it's not, but something about this one and the way it just felt like I felt like I had an outer body experience. Like I saw myself from the outside and I saw myself, and I know it's weird, but I saw myself on stage and I was just like looking at myself. It was so crazy. it was trippy. I loved it. Yeah. And just kind of adding on to it.
Oh, sorry. I felt that sneeze coming for like the last 10 minutes and I thought I could hold it and I apologize. I'm sure the producer is going to edit it out. Keep talking. I got to get a tissue. Oh, hold on. Hold on. I got to get tissue.
Holding. This is fun.
Your hair looks great.
Thank you. I need to come see you. It's been a while.
I know. What's this other? You guys are doing another
the
thing?
magic of editing, ladies.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
Okay, cool.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. I literally was holding in that sneeze for like the last 10 minutes. Okay, so it was such a good story too. And I'm like, no, I'm going to ruin it. Out of body experience, because you hit this amazing note and you're just like seeing yourself on stage and you're just like it's again transcendent, right? Like you're not in this world. This moment takes you to somewhere deeper.
Yeah.
Right. I also feel like people would appreciate this. Like, as far as Wicked goes, I feel like I've always had this weird connection to this show. And I've had like weird, unique things happen to me. Like I've met like I call my Elphabas the ones that I like grew up with and watched on stage. Like I met Adina Menzel, I met Shoshana Bean, I met Eden Espinoza, I met just Stephanie J. Block. Like I met all of them easy as like, just like, oh, they're having a book signing. Oh, after the show, and like I have, the book she uses in Wicked called The Grimory. They've all signed it. I've met Stephen Schwartz and I've met Fiyero, the original Fiyero and Norbert Leo Butz. I met him. And I've just had these like experiences with the show that have been just so unique. In college, I went to AMDA, New York. I lived in Manhattan, and we used to rush shows because we're big theater nerds. And
right.
People would call it the Evans magic, my last name magic, because I would go do the lottery for Wicked and I would win like a lot. Like it was kind of crazy. Like people would come over and they'd be like, my mom's in town. Can you please go do the lottery with me? And I would win. And then like, but I also kind of knew like the expectations of it. I was like, I won this week. Let's give it like a month. And then like, let's try again. Like, let's spread the wealth of Wicked.
She had a process.
That's amazing. That's
I've always
amazing.
just felt so like connected to the show in many ways that are kind of hard to explain for me, but like I enjoy it. Like I just love Wicked so much.
So we have to take a break because we have to hear from our amazing sponsors. But when we get back from the break, I want to talk about Wicked, and then I want to talk about Green Girl Diaries. And I really want to get into your affection for this show, why it's so important to both of you, and where did Green Girl Diaries come from in your heart and soul. So let's take a quick break and we will be right back with Vanessa Evans and Judy Mina-Ballard from Green Girl Diaries. Welcome back to Conversational Witchcraft with me, Dawn the Kitchen Witch. And today we are chatting with Vanessa and Judy from the Green Girl Diaries, which is so much fun because I'm totally theater nerding out and I'm loving it because I have a handful of friends that are like into theater, but no one's really quite as nerdy as me. I have theater friends that are into theater, but like I could literally sit and talk about this shit all day. So I promise I won't, because we all have lives. But right before, when we were on the break, we were chatting about a couple of things. And one of the things I wanted to bring up, well, first is that we were talking about learning a little bit about witchiness, and you guys saying that you go kind of like, oh, maybe we are a little witchy, doing a little witchy stuff and getting into like energy work and stuff. And it's really interesting to me dovetailing on an interview that I did a few months ago with an amazing writer. Her name is Heather Green, Green with an E. And she wrote a book called Lights, Camera, Witchcraft. And this is a book about the archetypes of witches in media.
Nice.
Okay. So one of the topics we discussed was the Wicked Witch of the West being one of the very first images of what a witch, quote unquote, looks like in the Wizard of Oz so many moons ago, and how that image has permeated modern culture, down to cartoons and witches being ugly and green and evil,
and the hat
and the hats and all that. And I think that as we're gonna gush on Wicked a little bit, Wicked turns the head of turns that on its head, right? The archetype of the green person being the scary person, the ugly person, and we realize that the ugly people are really maybe the people that are ugly on the inside. And I think that's one of the reasons why Wicked resonates with so many of us. And it's beautiful to see that kind of transition happening, especially recently, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. We're starting to see people that look different. Finally, we're starting to see diversity. We're starting to see diversity in color, gender identity, body shapes. We're starting to see that in media. We're starting to see that in theater. And I'd love to hear your guys' take on that, because you're really diving so far into this world of Wicked, which is kind of like, hey, green is beautiful, different is wonderful, on such a scale that people really resonate with. So I'd love to hear you guys talk a little bit about what that means to you. I know it's it's huge.
Oh man, I know, Vanessa, I know you have a lot on this topic.
So I taught children theater for a long time. You guys were like, at one point you were saying, I can't believe you got into this so late. It wasn't offered to me. Like I watched Disney and I was just like, I didn't know what I knew. I was singing all the songs. I didn't even know what a musical was. I was from Arizona. I'm from Arizona. It's very different there. There's tons of children's theaters in California. But when I grew up in Arizona, there was like nothing. I just had no idea. So one of my like passions is like teaching children like in inner cities about theater and that they can do that. And to go along with that, one of my mantras, like, are my, like, I guess when I'm directing a show, because I also you guys know that I direct, but one of the things I try to keep in mind when casting is just to think outside the box. It doesn't, there was so many times when I was growing up and auditioning where it was just like, white girl, white girl, white girl, skinny white girl.
It's always skinny. It's always a skinny white girl.
Just like, and I graduated in 2004. Wicked came out in 2003. And the cool thing about Wicked is that Elphaba, she could be played by a Black girl. That's one thing that drew me to it. So I kind of always keep that in mind when casting, is just like keep an open mind, especially when teaching children too, is like, keep an open mind as regarding casting, because it's a show, but I'm also teaching and they need the experience, or how else are they going to get there? If we just keep casting, the same Cinderellas that we typically see, or this, same characters that we typically see, how is this person of color, or this other person with this different body type going to get the same experience, the same learning experience, to be able to compete when it's time to compete? So that's something that I felt very strongly about, even in college. About Wicked, I just have to say this, like, turning a story upside down. One of my favorite books growing up was the story of the Big Bad Wolf, the true story of the Three Little Pigs, where it's like you see it from the wolf's eyes.
Those pigs are bitches.
Yeah, same. Do through my research of Wicked, or like Witchcraft, to do stuff for Green Girl. It's not what you think it is. It's like people have given it such a bad rap, and like I'm just gonna add on top of that, like Black history has been taught wrong. I'm so upset.
I mean,
not
I'm
taught.
yeah.
so upset with this stuff. I hope I'm not going all over
No,
the
no,
place,
no,
but
no, give it. We love it. We love it
like
because it's
it makes
100%
me
true. We Black history has been perverted in our country, and the way we think about people and I mean perverted in, that flipped, like thought about completely wrong. And it's the way people look at witchcraft. It's the way people look at anything they don't understand. It's the way people look at queerness. Like,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
we're just all human beings. Can we just
There's
just
so much fucking manipulation
right? And so to have
into
an avenue like theater where you are able to express and change views and be pivotal in someone else's life and be out there, be in public, have a platform. And that platform is simply to show up and be yourself,
yeah.
and be like, yeah, I'm a green girl. Okay, cool. Like, I think that's something that Wicked did before it was the popular thing to do.
absolutely. And I think it's important. I always kind of preface this way. Some actresses, when they play her, like they do, because it makes sense as an actress to make this choice, but I choose to play her a different way. I feel like some actresses choose to play her a little like angry, a little like, rough around the edges, a little like somebody that her personality is not somebody you would actually like. Her personality is portrayed as somebody you wouldn't like, actually, And I think it's important to play her as a normal person, quirky and just a normal girl growing up, because I think it's very true to today's world. You know what I mean? Like people, there's nothing wrong with her. She's just green. Like I think that's how it should be played. She's a normal girl who has green skin. And, of course, that life experience of having green skin has like, built up some walls and stuff like that. But I think it's important to play her as a normal person, because I think it's very, that's how the world is today. There's people out there that's a normal person. They're gay. Who cares? That's a normal person. She's Black. Who cares? Like they're normal people. They're fine. Nothing's wrong with them.
Yeah. And I get that idea of playing her with a chip on her shoulder, because she's had it harder just because of who she is. And I think that's incredibly relatable, right? To communities of color, to LGBTQ plus, to anybody who is othered, anyone who society says you're different, right?
Right.
It's easy to play that character or to feel that someone in that scenario would be angry, would have a chip on their shoulder. I mean, I have a chip on my shoulder because I'm a fat girl. And I walk into a place, I interviewed somebody on my show who was very thin, and I was researching her ahead of time. And I was like, this person is very beautiful and she's very thin and she's all into this and she's all into that. And I was like immediately thinking I'm going to be judged by her because I'm a fat girl. And immediately that's what I thought. And I was completely wrong. She was the most lovely person, and we had so much in common because she goes into a room and she's afraid everybody's going to think she's anorexic, but that's just her body. Right. So I think when we take out
it's the same. The shame is the same.
Shame is the same. We take out the othering of people, not you and me, but us. It changes everything. And again, the vehicle of theater to be able to show the unity between bodies and colors and gender identity or sexual identity. I think it's such a gorgeous thing. And I think that's why so many of us that consider themselves others gravitate towards theater, gravitate towards witchcraft, and gravitate towards performance, right? Because
those are marginal things that are usually marginalized.
Correct.
And you can kind of go, okay, these are my people. Yes. These are my people. Yeah.
I mean, that was sad, just like some people don't even like, they won't even look at witchcraft. They won't even like, they're like, you know what I mean? And it's like, once you really look at it, it's you get it. Like, you're like, okay, all right.
It's like I cook for people. That's my witchcraft.
Exactly. You're imbuing good energy.
You want some meatballs? Like that's my witchcraft. Here's some meatballs. That's really it. So for both of you, are these the reasons why Wicked spoke to you? And I guess, Vanessa, this is mostly for you because you're the creator of Girl Diaries. You are the creator, the director. This is your brain baby, right? Is this why you felt the need to dive deeper because that message of we're just all the same is very important to you.
Absolutely. There's just so much more to her story. Like I feel like her experience, that what she's going through, um, can't be just told in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, especially while she's in college. Like, oh man, just diving deep into, it's been so fun to just dive deeper into her story. And she deserves more. I want to hear those stories. So I'm sure other people would like to hear those stories also.
How about you, Judy? What drew you to the project?
I have a very strong bent for social justice. And for me, that's where I saw the very first time I ever saw Wicked. I'll never forget Pantages Theater. And I was in like the third row in Pantages. Like, it was freaking incredible. And I knew nothing about Wicked. And I walked out of that going, holy shit, this is a story about prejudice and how to fucking accept people just because they're fucking people. Like, the fuck is wrong with you? Like, this is a magical story. Yeah. I'll never forget. Like, I walked out of there like mind fucking blown, going, this is a story about prejudice. And it made me see Wizard of Oz in a whole different light. And so when Vanessa asked me to be part of this, I didn't even care. She could have asked me to be, a munchkin's toe. I wouldn't have cared. I mean,
I'll be the yellow brick road. I'm just gonna lay there.
Just a fucking brick. I don't care.
I'm just
yes.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's and so that for me is the whole basis of the story. Is she could have been purple, she could have been yellow, she could have been black, she could any color, it doesn't matter. Correct. Someone that's different than you. Just learn to accept other people that might be different than you.
And then twisting the story, just twisting it to turn her into a wicked character when she's not that at all.
Yeah, exactly. And it's who was I with that turned to me at the end of Wicked? Was it a few months ago when we went, Vanessa?
Maybe.
Who did I have with me? Oh no,
it was your daughter.
It was Sarah. Yeah, absolutely. I totally forgot Sarah was with us. So my daughter was with me and she turned to me and she went, oh my God. Like it was really cool to see her mind get blown.
Yeah.
Right there in the audience when she realized all of these characters that she's known her entire life. And she's a witch. She's a witch. My daughter and I have a whole other like connection that is no other description for it other than we're witches. That's what it is. And to watch her mind get blown and be like, oh, right, I get it. This is rad.
Yeah. So I will admit to you that I've always listened to the music of Wicked, but I've never seen the show until a few months back. So I'm so used to just listening to the soundtrack and kind of like making up what's going on in between the songs. Oh yeah, that's what it's about. And I had no idea that there was this subplot of the animals. And I was like, oh my God, what? Yeah. Oh, but right. And that whole, like you said, Judy, that being about the subplot of the social justice and fighting for other people. And, these are people that just happen to be different because it's not just Elphaba's story. It's a story of what's going on in that world and who are the people that are doing the ostracization of who's othering, who's being othered. And Elphaba and Galinda are sort of in the middle of that, having their own personal situations, but I didn't even know that was a thing. And then I saw it and I was like, oh my God, that's where
you go. Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, well, no, I love it even more. And you understand because again, the themes are so relatable, So obviously you guys are both very, very passionate about the show and about these characters, right? Why did you feel like now was the right time to create Green Girl Diaries?
This is more superficial than anything for me. It was started in 2018. I was sitting there watching Wicked. I go every year. I'm a super fan of the show. I was there with my fiance, and he went to the merchandise area and he brought me back some Shiz University. That's the school they go to. Their sweatpants.
Yes.
And I just started thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like out of school, like she's in college, like duh, right? But like,
right.
No, there's like parties happening, there's like sports, like there's shenanigans going on. And I was like, whoa, there's so much more to the story. And then the gears started turning. And I guess the superficial reason is like, I was like, I'm getting up there. I really want to play this character. I was just like, I'm gonna write it, see what happens, and we're just gonna see what happens. And so that's how we came about it.
But that's a valid reason. I mean, the truth is, you could play Elphaba at any age. I mean, green makeup covers a lot of wrinkles.
You always get that feeling as an actress. So, oh my gosh, here we go.
Right.
Yeah, I'm down for Wicked Senior. Anytime anybody wants to do Wicked Senior, I'm down.
Right. Can I be like middle-aged Elphaba and like this is like that's just me and my cat. I could put wings on.
Dawn, I would love to see you in a blonde wig.
No, I only wore a blonde wig once when I was cosplaying River Song from Doctor Who, and it was not a good.
Stop it!
Not a good look for me. I'm not a good blonde. I'm not a good blonde.
Did it look more like Dolly Parton?
Yeah, it was also a really, really bad, cheap wig.
I would just love to hang with Alex Kingston and swap stories about Ray Fiennes. That's what I would like to do.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I feel like this is timely. I feel like it's very timely because, like you said, Vanessa, she's going through shit. She's learning about herself. She's having dynamics between people at school, and she's, dealing with these, she's dealing with racism. She's dealing with sexism. She's dealing with, being a young woman trying to find herself. And again, now in the world, we're finally starting to open up to hearing those stories about people who are different. So maybe you feel like it's a superficial reason, but I think it's the right time to do something like this. I'm just saying.
The initial time, or the initial like, let's do this, is probably superficial. But as I was writing, like I definitely put some of myself in there, and like I identify so much with her, and so like there are definitely those themes in the show.
And so I got to tell you, I watched all 3 episodes that you sent me, and I watched them all, and I was kind of impressed. Like the writing's really, really good, and the characters are like, right? Like I was like,
I haven't even seen them. Dawn, lucky girl, lucky girl.
I found myself like laughing, and then I was like thinking, like the last episode, which I could tell like it's not fully edited, just like this blank part that needs music or whatever. And I was like, oh, great, you guys sent me the drafts and whatever, and which was awesome, to be honest. I love seeing stuff like that. But I noticed it was like 20 minutes long, and I was like, I don't know if I can watch the whole thing. Maybe I'll watch the first 5 minutes, and then I gotta go make dinner or whatever. And I found myself 5 minutes towards the end going, oh fuck, I watched the whole thing. Like, and I'm literally like, when Fiyero shows up in that dream sequence where she's dreaming about Fiyero and like what it might be like when she meets him. I don't know who that guy is, but he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's insane. Eddie.
A fucking hilarious. And again, like the chemistry between all of you guys, Judy, between you and Vanessa, between you and the actress playing Nessa, like, and the actress playing Galinda. I mean, and it's Galinda. You're all just really good and committed, which as a viewer, it's enjoyable to watch. And like I said, at first I was like, oh, I'm not gonna have time to watch it. And then I was sucked in. I was like, I can't turn it off. So awesome. I think that's you have, exciting. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But then again, I am a total nerd, and I kind of gobble up anything that's in the wheelhouse of things that I love.
That's what we're here for.
I mean, I really enjoy it. I do have a curiosity about So you guys haven't seen it yet because this is coming out in May, right?
I've seen
So,
it. Judy hasn't.
but those of us who you were recording this in February, and this will be coming out in May. So for the viewers, for the listeners, you haven't seen it yet, probably at the time this is airing. So Elphaba does this thing with her hand when she's doing her Girl Diaries, which is her vlog, which is hilarious because if Elphaba was going to school today, she would definitely be like all into social media, right? But she does this thing with her hand, and I cannot figure out if this is a miming of a phone or this is magic when she's talking and she's doing her vlog. Can you clear that up for me?
It will be an orb, like a magic orb.
Oh, it's going to be a special effect.
Yeah. That's why the next scene you'll probably see, I feel like we have a green overlay and it's like all like kind of.
Yeah, I noticed it was wobbly on the edges and I was like, okay, there's an effect there. But I was like, what's she doing with her hand? I thought it was just like you're supposed to imagine or that you were miming a phone or something, but it will be way cooler with an effect. Like,
holy crap, Vanessa, now I'm intrigued.
It was really cool. Judy, it's really cool. And there's like this wobbly effect on the sides and stuff.
That's
like
right.
It's really cool. I'm not gonna lie. Very, very fun. So let me see. I have notes here that I would. Oh, okay. So here's a question for you. What do you hope people are gonna take away from this web series? Like, what are you hoping that they'll gravitate towards or they'll love or they'll take with them when they're finished watching it?
I hope they're entertained, of course, but I think the cool thing is like I hope they're inspired to create at any level. As you can see, like of course you got the rough drafts, but even after our rough drafts, you're gonna see some dings and dents. We literally were just like, let's do this. I had expectations that I wanted to keep, but like we were all learning from cast to crew. I had never been on film before. So I just want to inspire people. I think you'll see like those dings and dents in it and be like, oh, but it's still good. Yes. I can do this and keep going and just do and create and be and do create whatever you want to create and do it now.
I love that. Judy, how about you?
Yeah, just kind of the theme of what I think the Wicked story is, and that is learn to accept people and meet them where they are. Not everybody, look, there's a lot of what I would call narcissism in our culture, and you're not the coolest one on the block. Calm the fuck down. And know that other people have things to offer, and it may not be the same as yours. And guess what? It's just as fucking magical. And some people are even more magical than you thought. Except it's all good. It's all good.
I love that so much. And to your point, Vanessa, I think it is very important to inspire people to just create and just do. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? You know, I had hemmed and hawed about starting this podcast. Like my first show sucked, my show after that was a little better. The third one was better than that, and this one isn't going to be as good as the next one because we're always learning and we're always creating. But the point is to start, right? Just start, right. Just do it. Just, if you have that creative drive, don't wait. Right?
Exactly. And you see us grow, like you'll, and I think that's so inspiring. Like, I think even in those 3 episodes you saw, like you definitely see
Absolutely.
like from episode 1 to episode 3, you're like, okay, all right, we're doing something here. And then we have 11 episodes altogether, and you can see the growth, and that's inspiring. It was inspiring to all of us. We were like, whoa, like, look at us. Yeah.
Again, you just do it, and by doing it, you inspire others to be like Judy said, where you see the similarities instead of the differences, right? You find the connective tissue between people from different walks of life, people who are on your crew, people who are in your cast. What brings you together? What's the common denominator between all of you is that you love what you're doing, right? So, which wouldn't have happened if you didn't just start creating, right? So this force for good that has come from Elphaba is really inspiring creativity and connectivity, which honestly, I'm sorry, is witchcraft. So you're going to have to fucking deal with that. Like that's
There it
That's the
is. I
magic,
agree
people.
wholeheartedly.
That's the magic, people. So tell us about Green Girl Diaries, where it can find you, where we can find you online, how we can view the show, how we can subscribe, all that jazz. Give us all of your socials.
Okay, so we're at Green Girl Diaries on pretty much everything: Facebook, Instagram. We have a TikTok now. The only thing we're not at Green Girl Diaries is on YouTube, where we're at Gargoyle Media. That's our production company. Shout out to them. That's where you'll find Green Girl. We'll be on YouTube, and we'll post it on all of our social media. So of course, at Green Girl Diaries on all social media.
Excellent. And if somebody wants to stalk the two of you,
I'm at Nessa Rose 4199 on Instagram.
And
Judy? I am at Judy Mina-Ballard on Instagram. Actually, no, I'm thinking I'm Judy Ballard. I have about 17 of these different social media things. I can't keep them all straight. It's Instagram at Judy Ballard.
Fantastic. And we're going to keep all the information of where to find you guys. All of your links will be on the show notes for this on the podcast and when we air it on YouTube. So everybody will be able to go to the notes and click and like and follow, share, subscribe. And last question, if you have listened to or watched this show, you may know that I ask every guest the same question at the end. If you were to have me cook you one magical meal, what would it be and why?
I have to say two. Can I say two, please?
You can totally say two. You can totally say two. Yes, absolutely.
I feel like I would like a good, like, you know, when someone's sick, like a good soup to like heal them. Like, I feel like you rock at that.
I, in fact, do rock at that.
Yes.
I do rock at that. So like what kind of soup? Like what kind of soup? Like I just made this gorgeous Italian wedding soup that's like a little bit spicy. And then I had like all these vegetables in it and like turkey meatballs. It was awesome. But then like a week later, I made this like homemade 12-hour bone broth with turmeric, lemon, and ginger and garlic. And then I made like a noodle soup with that. So like, yeah, I'm really
That all sounds amazing. I would say chef's choice, because you're the kitchen witch, so I trust you.
And what's the second one?
My favorite food is pizza, and so I feel like, and I'll let again you decide. You're the kitchen witch. I trust you in your recipe.
She's an Italian girl. She know pizza.
No.
I'm just saying. So like homemade, like really like fluffy, beautiful crust in the deep Sicilian pan. I'll make it for you in Nonna's pan, and then you'll be very happy.
Oh,
thank you.
Like my great grandmother's pan from Italy, and I never use it except for very, very special occasions. It's this big round pan.
Is it cast iron? Is it like a cast iron?
No, it's like aluminum or steel or something. And then I have my great grandmother's muffin tins that are hammered copper. Yeah. They came
gotta be like energy passed down, right? And
that's 100% right. Yeah. It's ancestral energy that like when my grandmother passed away, my mom said to me, like, what do you want from her kitchen? And what do you want from the house? And I said, anything from the kitchen. And she brought me like this bucket of things that she found. So I have 2 muffin tins, known as pizza pan, and then like 2 banana bread, like loaf pans.
Manja.
Yeah. They're very and very special, and they're 100 years old, and they're like made in Italy. They were my great grandmother's that she passed down to my grandmother that now I have. So they'll have to go in a museum or something. Judy, what would I make? What would I make you?
Okay, you ready for my boring answer? But
it wouldn't be
boring. It wouldn't be boring.
It wouldn't be.
Spaghetti with a thick meat sauce, you know, just like, oh, so good. And you make the sauce the night before, right? You make the sauce the night before, the gravy, whatever, right? Do you call it gravy or do you call it sauce?
So that's very controversial where I'm from, because I grew up in New York, and there's like there's New York Italians, and there's Northern Italians and there's Southern Italians, and depending on where your heritage is from. In my family, it's sauce if it doesn't have meat. It's gravy if it has meat. Which makes sense, right?
Totally makes sense.
It sounds like you want like a ragu, and a ragu being like all kinds of different meats. So I would make that with like braised steak tips, and then I would put brajol, and I would do sausages, and I would do meatballs, and I would just cook that. I did that. We did pasta giving instead of Thanksgiving. We did pasta giving a couple of years ago. And
you make your pasta? Do you make it?
Unfortunately, I do not. I am celiac, so I can't have gluten. How horrible is my life?
You can't have that.
No.
Oh, it's okay. You know what? I would just love to have the gravy.
Right. I mean, and I put it on gluten-free pasta, and it's fine. But I made, for pasta giving, I did like a 3-day ragu. I put it in the crock pot, and then I like put it, we're here in New Hampshire. So I'm in, it's cold here. So I have a 3-season room. So in the wintertime, it's just like a walk-in fridge. And I took the crock pot at night and I put it in there and then put it back on the counter, plugged it back in. I did that for 3 days. It was the most incredible, like this meat just melted.
How many bulbs of garlic do you use?
All of them.
Yeah. Do you all the garlic?
All the garlic. There's never enough garlic. I was on MasterChef.
Oh.
And I cooked for Gordon Ramsay, and he was like, "I'm sorry, darling, it's too much garlic." And I was like, "You're British.
Never.
What the fuck do you know about garlic?"
Yeah. British dude.
Fucking British dude. You boil everything. But no, I love that you guys both went with like something very Italian that just makes me really happy. Vanessa Evans and Judy Mina-Ballard, this has been delightful and fantastic. And I am so happy for you. I'm so excited to see what happens on Girl Diaries, because now I'm hooked. Thank you so much for being here. This was so fantastic. And until next time, everyone, I wish you many blessings and so much gratitude. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Dawn. Thank you so much.